Why do teams like competing in this event where you don't know who you're playing really just 3 weeks before the game itself?
The bottom line, it's all about impressing the selection committee if you're a potential bubble team. We've seen it almost every year where a team gets a big win, usually on the road, in Bracketbusters, and maybe that's what puts them over the hump to get into the field of 68. Last year, VCU, a 1-point winner at Wichita State, and what do you know? VCU sneaks into the NCAA bracket and goes all the way to the Final Four. Wichita State loses at home, gets relegated to the NIT, and did awfully well winning that event.
And the Colonial has done that a couple times because George Mason used that win at Wichita State in 06 to get to the Final Four, to get into the field of 68 or 64 at the time.
All right, let's reveal some more matchups. VCU, they get into the Bracketbuster televised portion. They take on Northern Iowa, and then Valpo and LMU. Both these games, Friday games, 7 Eastern, VCU on ESPNU, and then the Valpo game, 9 Eastern, that Friday on ESPNU.
Joe, I think this was a disservice to VCU. VCU right now is 1 game behind George Mason, three-way tie in the Colonial. I think they should have had a better team than Northern Iowa.
I don't know. I like the theater of VCU opening the Bracketbusters at home.
But
after everything.
Help them.
It's not going to hurt them.
It's not going to really help them.
I'm not sure they've earned much more than this so far. They're on a streak now, but they were really struggling back in November, December. They're good, but you know, we have to be realistic.
It's a young team, though.
A young team trying to do it now with defense after being such a 3-point dominant team in the NCAA tournament a year ago.
Northern Iowa, though, has slid back into the lower tier of the Missouri Valley right now, and that's why I thought VCU should have gotten a better team than Northern Iowa, because they are a potential NCAA tournament team.
Yeah, I had a chance to see some of VCU's games recently. Young team, but one that's improving. Our next matchup, Drexel and Cleveland State. The Vikings, they beat Vanderbilt in non-conference. That was in Nashville, and Drexel, they're right behind George Mason in the Colonial. Joe, I know Drexel, that's your backyard, Philadelphia. What can you tell us about the Dragons?
The Dragons are playing extremely well. They've won 9 in a row now. Could be 14 by the time of this Bracketbusters contest. And they play well early in the morning. We've seen them in that Hoops Marathon over the years, so they should do fine at 11 a.m. Eastern at Cleveland State. It's an even game, but what Drexel does better than typical Bruiser Flint teams, Andy, is they score the ball. Usually they're a muck-it-up, rebound, defensive-oriented team. They've got size and skill now, and they were the preseason pick in the CAA.
And Cleveland State, led by Gary Waters, this is a team, remember last year had Norris Cole, sensational guard, who was a first-round draft pick. This team definitely can push the basketball, but they're also always mirror their coach. Very good lockdown defensive team. I think this will be a much more lower scoring game between two teams that legitimately could be in the NCAA tournament. Cleveland State right now, the class of the Horizon League. Yes, the class of the Horizon League over Butler, which played in the last 2 national championship games.
And for Drexel, they're behind Mason in the Colonial. Is Old
win at Washington
taking on Missouri State.
Missouri State trying to get back in the picture here in the Missouri Valley as Creighton and Wichita State have separated. There were times in the non-conference we had Missouri State and/or Northern Iowa in our projected field. Missouri State just beat Northern Iowa over the weekend, so a big opportunity for the Bears. They must have it.
This is an Old Dominion team, by the way, which struggled early in the season, although did muck it up a little against Kentucky at the Mohegan Sun way back in November.
And Missouri at home.
Right, very physical team. And when they played Missouri at home, it was a very close game, a game that legitimately they had a chance to win. I thought that was a bit of an indicator that this team would be a challenger in the Colonial, and now they're 1 game behind George Mason, tied with VCU and Drexel. And if you haven't seen Blaine Taylor this season, total extreme makeover, got rid of the stash, lightened his hair. I don't know if it's sort of a midlife crisis, but it's a good look.